The comms transceiver allows Smobs to communicate between different scenes. In order to use the comms transceiver, your scene must include a comms manager. You can find the comms manager in the managers folder. There should only be one comms manager at any given moment, so if you have more than one scene open, make sure only one of them has a comms manager. Alright, a transmitter, for those who don't know, a transmitter is something that sends information. A receiver is something that receives information. Therefore, a transceiver is something that can send and receive information. You can think of the comms transceiver as sort of a cell phone and the comms manager as the cell phone tower. Let's go over the user prefs. If you hover your cursor over the words "hover me," you'll see some important information. It says that for each pair of comms transceivers, one should be set to unit ID A and the other to unit ID B. This is really important. Next is the comm channel. This determines what communications channel the two transceivers will communicate over. If you use more than one pair of transceivers at any time, then each pair should communicate over a different comm channel. Unit ID helps differentiate between each paired transceivers. It keeps the game from mistakenly thinking that two different transceivers are the same one. So if transceiver A sends a message, the comms manager will know to send the message to transceiver B and vice versa. There are 10 events. Message 1 transmitted happens anytime the transceiver sends message 1. Message 1 received happens anytime message 1 is received by the transceiver. The rest of the events are exactly the same except with messages 2 through 5. I'll go ahead and give you a quick demonstration. Okay, maybe not too quick. I'll create a new scene by going up to the File menu and clicking on New Scene. Next, I'll go to the Scenes folder in my project and I'll drag the test scene up to the hierarchy. My hierarchy now contains two scenes. It contains my test scene and also when I went up to File and create a new one, which is labeled as Untitled. I'll delete the camera and light from the Untitled scene since I don't want two lights and two main cameras. Let's put a Smob in each scene and have them communicate with each other. I'll navigate to the Buttons and Levers folder and then drag a long-handled lever into my test area scene. I'll move it so that it's slightly in front of my character. Now, I'll navigate to the Traps folder and drag a spike trap to the Untitled scene. I'll move it so that it's a little further than my lever in the test scene. That way they're not on top of each other. So the test area should have the lever and the other scene should have the spike traps. Let's set it up so that when the lever is turned off, the spikes go down, and when the lever is turned on, the spikes go up. I'll select the lever and I'll expand the toggled on event. I'll also expand the toggled off event. I'll drag the spike trap to the toggled on event and I'll tell it to raise the spikes. Then I'll drag the spike trap to the toggled off event and tell it to lower the spikes. Normally this would work, but since our lever and spikes are in two different scenes, they won't be able to communicate. So let me go ahead and test that out and show you. As you can see, turning the lever on and off has no effect on the spikes. Alright, let's go ahead and get out of this and let's put our transceivers to use. I'll navigate to the Managers folder and locate the Comms Manager. I'll drop one into my test scene. Next, I'll navigate back to the Utilities folder and look for the Comms Transceiver. I'll drop one into my test scene and leave it as Unit ID A. Next, I'll drop one into the other scene and change it to Unit ID B. If Unit A sends a message, the Comms Manager will relay it to Unit B. Likewise, if unit B sends a message, the comms manager will relay it to unit A. Alright, next we need to make sure that both transceivers are using the same channel. Otherwise, they won't be able to communicate. So I'll just make sure that both are set to channel 1, which they should be. Alright, our levers toggled on and toggled off events still have Smob messages from our first test. So let's go ahead and delete those. I'll just click on one of the messages and then press the delete button. That will allow me to delete this Smob message. You can also right click somewhere on the message and select delete as well. Let's go ahead and set up the transceiver. For my test scene, I'll drag the transceiver to the lever's toggled on event and tell it to send message 1. I'll also drag the transceiver to the toggled off event and tell it to send message 2. So, when we turn our lever on, it will tell the transceiver to send something called message 1. The comms manager will relay that message to the transceiver in our other scene. When our lever is turned off, then it will send message 2 to the manager, which will then relay it to the other transceiver. Let's select the other transceiver in our other scene, the untitled scene, and expand the message 1 received event. Let's drag the spike trap to the event and tell it to raise the spikes. Let's also expand the message 2 received event and drag in the spike trap. Let's tell it to lower the spikes. Now, when this transceiver receives something called message 1, it will tell the spike trap to raise the spikes. And when it receives message 2, it will tell the spike traps to lower the spikes. Let's click on the play button and see if it all works.